Right, we're going to get straight into it.
Okay, let's do it.
Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
This is how we start.
Is it?
This is how we start. It's not very formal.
No.
It don't need to be anyway,
that's good for me.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I will say that I think something like 4 guests that have been on so far is all down to you. So first of all, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I don't think this podcast would be running without you. Can I just text you and say, Sarah, can you find me some guests?
Do you know anyone?
So it has been amazing. And I've learned so much about Teal, so much, all positive, and we're gonna talk about that. But before we start with all these episodes, it's really starting with you and your journey into education, and take us right back of how you got involved and what you did before education, how you got into it.
Oh wow, where do I begin? So, from a very disadvantaged background, Mum had 4 girls, very loud 4 girls. You can imagine our house with 4 girls and just a single mum on her own.
Yeah.
It was carnage, but a very loving home. And my mum always kind of said to me, you'll make something of yourself. You'll definitely be somebody who will go far. I know you will. I believe in you. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was make her proud of me, and worked really hard at school, really, really hard, despite the disadvantage, tried to push on.
Yeah.
And went to college, did a couple of A-levels, and again, just didn't know what I wanted to do. I'd spent this childhood seeing my mum struggle, but just knew that I wanted to go and make something of myself. I decided, I don't know how, that I wanted to be the first in the family to go to university.
Right, okay.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do at university, and thought, what shall I study? What can I do? And thought, business. I can get something out of business. I can definitely achieve something with a business degree. I can open my own business. I can run a business. I can work for somebody within a business. So I thought that's going to be it. That's going to be my degree. So I went off and did a business management degree at Hull University. Stayed local. I was too scared to go anywhere else. Having only holidayed at Withensea Caravan Park. Do you know where Withensea is?
I do know Withensea, yeah.
Yeah, well, you can imagine that I'd not been far. and thought I can't go any further than Hull, so I'm going to stay there and stay with my mum and look after her. So I did. I studied business management, and again at the end of the 3 years, thought, what am I going to do with myself? I don't know what to do with this degree. Do I go down to London and work in a big blue chip company? Do I go off somewhere else and do something completely different? But I'd joined the Royal Navy.
Right.
Whilst at university.
Okay.
The Royal Naval Reserves, I'm not allowed to say the Royal Navy because it was the reserves. I joined the Royal Naval Reserves whilst at university, and kind of saw that first opportunity to see the world and experience travel. I joined as a training officer, and I really did see some sights in the Navy. I saw it all, and experienced so much travelling, and thought, do you know what? I really love travelling. I really love being out of Hull, despite only holidaying at Withensea Caravan Park.
Finally found, you went out of Hull. Yeah.
To be fair, we did venture as far as Skegness once, and that was our family holiday to Butlins was memorable. But I enjoyed the Navy. I'd met so many amazing people that were from completely different background to me, and decided I was going to go off and travel for a year. After university, and ended up in Thailand, ended up in Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Canada, and ended up in an Australian primary school doing a little bit of work experience, because my work experience was at my uncle's hairdressing shop for 5 days, so didn't really venture far. So I did a bit of work experience in a local primary school in Australia, and I absolutely loved being around the kids. Wasn't quite down with the primary school age. She's poked me in the eye with a pencil, and I kind of thought, I'm not sure that would be my age group. So I came back from travelling having done that, and decided to work with a much easier age group of secondary school children. And undertook my teacher training again in Hull, doing the old PGCE at the University of Hull. ended up at South Hunsley School
Yeah.
in 2006 and never left. And I'm still there 18 years later. I'm still with South Hunsley, but also with Teal. So I think for me, that kind of moment where I thought, I want to make something of myself. I want to make my mum proud of me. I want to be the first to go to university. I did it.
Yeah.
Travelled, having never travelled before, and realised that working with young people was absolutely where I needed to be, and I've not looked back since.
You found it.
I was going to get the violin out then, as I was telling you my story, but we did come from a place of hardship, and that totally drove me forward really with my
I love all that.
career.
It reminds me, we grew up with just my mum, and three, my brother, my sister, and it was pure carnage. You don't realise how hard it was.
I know.
Until you get older, then you look back and you think, how did they even manage? We can't even manage now, we stress about anything.
Yeah.
And, but it's lovely that you went on, and I totally get that whole going to university thing. I say a lot on these podcasts. I left school with nothing. I didn't have any qualifications really. I was just good with people. And I'm still trying to work out what I wanted to do. And I think, university is just that next step to go on as further education, isn't it? To see where it takes you. But you found your thing then when you went to Australia. Definitely. I went to Australia as well. I feel like we're on the same journey here.
So you went to Australia to travel?
I just went to, I went to go play golf.
Right, okay, very different.
I went to go literally play golf for a year in Australia.
Yeah.
But I love that you found your thing. Like you found it and then came back. Because I was looking at how long you'd been at the trust for, and it surprised me. Not because it was, but honestly, for someone to be in education that long, you must love it.
I do.
You must love it, which is good.
I do.
It is a good thing.
I do, and I think everybody that meets me always kind of tells me how passionate I am about my job. And when you get asked that question, why have you been there for so long? It absolutely is because I'm so passionate about not only the kids, the job, but the people that I work with. I absolutely love working with those people. And I've often thought, could I go somewhere else? Would I enjoy it as much? But I just love it where I am. I probably shouldn't be saying this on a podcast though, because my bosses are going to be like, yeah, she's going to stay forever now. That's it. There's no threat of her leaving. Well, I do.
Well, I've met all the Teal. I think when I interviewed Johnny, I think I was so impressed with him. I think I said to Lee, our co-host who's not here today, I think I said, I might actually have to come work at Teal.
You want a job?
Just to come work with Johnny, yeah.
I think everyone does when they hear about
it was
all
amazing.
the great stuff that we do and the Team Teal hashtag that bounds
It's so
about.
good. Yeah. And I think with teaching as well is that what keeps you going is once the cohort of students have gone, there's a new cohort that need your help, don't they? So it's forever. Yeah. It's forever job. And
don't get me wrong, that feeling when you come back in September, we all have it.
Still get it.
Here we go. We do. We have the results day and it's amazing and we're all amazing. Everyone's crying. It's emotional. You do get to September and you kind of think, here we go again.
Yeah.
You are repeating the same process every year, and people do feel like, it's a graft. It's hard work. It really is. It really is hard work, especially getting to September, having got everybody through their exams. You go again. It is that we go again.
Start again, new people.
But they need you. They want you to inspire them, and that inspiration keeps you going as a teacher. Well, it definitely does me anyway. That kind of motivation to continue inspiring.
You've been in Hull. You love Hull.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to talk about what's on the table right now. Your post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're big into rugby.
Yes.
Netball.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen netball a lot. Hull KR.
Yeah.
I best get this right because
I'm so glad you got that right. Yes, sport is absolutely my passion. I actually, to be fair, thought about becoming a PE teacher before a business teacher.
I was just about to say. So we will go on to the reason what you're doing with business. But PE teacher would have been ideal.
I know, but then I just love business as well. But I'm a massive fan of any sport. I love watching sport. I love watching live sport. I love participating in sport. Hull kayak, I've got my scarf because I've seen on another podcast that you did. I'm sure there was a Newcastle scarf bounding around.
Because Newcastle had just won the League Cup.
Yes.
That's
so
right.
I thought I'm going to bring my scarf. So I brought I thought I was on Jimmy Carr's countdown. You know, when you get your memorabilia out, or what mascot have you brought today? Well, I've brought a selection. Yeah. I've not got 2 coffees, by the way, but yeah, I've brought a selection. So this is Hull KR scarf. The only thing about this scarf is that it is. Have you ever bought a half and half scarf?
No.
Well, I made a big error of buying a half and half scarf. Why you would want the other team on your scarf is just, I don't get it.
You've got it, haven't you? Who is it?
It's
Warriors?
It's Wigan.
Wigan Warriors.
Now, I know, and we know that they're major rivals. I shouldn't have Wigan anywhere near Hull KR, but anyway, I won't buy another one. There's a bit of an inside joke at work about half and half scarves, so that will make some people laugh when they see that. But Hull KR, yeah, I support Hull KR because my daughter, she started to train with Hull KR netball,
right.
And we were just surrounded by lots of amazing people who were not only netball players, but were massively supportive of rugby and Hull KR. And I went to quite a number of games with her, saw how excited she was about the game, and I fell in love with it as well, because all of my family are Hull FC supporters, and they cannot believe that I have started following rugby and follow this team. So they'll probably be deleting this segment of the podcast when they see it. But yeah, just that kind of community spirit, just the way people are at football games, netball games, rugby games. I'm just obsessed with community and togetherness and the love and belonging that people feel at a game. Hull KR just is a brilliant example of community. You know, people walk to the stadium. There's a deprived housing estate around the stadium, but when you get in that stadium, everyone feels like they belong. Yeah. There's no kind of discrimination of who you are, where you're from, what you've done in your life. It's just we're all here and we recognise that badge and we're passionate about it. And that's kind of got me thinking about how schools are and how we feel in a school, how we feel loved, whether we feel like we matter in a school. And that's something that I'm starting to look at moving forward in my ever-expanding role.
I love it, because you're absolutely right. It is about community and everything. So there is a lot you can take into schools here. The fact that you live and breathe this outside of work means it naturally comes into work with you.
Yes.
So you're bringing a lot of this with you, aren't you? So I can imagine being sat in some of your lessons, actually, and it being quite cool, because...
You can join me anytime.
Yeah, I might just come sit in, actually, just to...
Come and join us.
Yeah, we'll come to a talk. And... But yeah, so going on to like the business part then, you obviously teach business. Yes. Business is a big part of what you do. For the 17 years then, have you been doing business studies ever since the beginning, or did you come in completely different?
I went in as a business and IT teacher.
So you've been doing business, right?
Yeah. I did a business management degree and then was employed as a business and IT teacher back in 2007, and have been teaching business ever since. I love the subject.
Yes, I do. So we can talk about this.
It's so real.
It is.
And the kids see that, you know, they see the link between what I'm telling them in the classroom and the real world. And I think, you know, I used to be that kid at school that would put my hand up and say, Miss, what's the point in what we're doing? Why are we learning about this? Because I couldn't see that connection between what I was learning in the classroom and the real world. Whereas business, they get it. They kind of see, well, that's happening in a business, or that theory's been studied and been applied within a business. And I feel that they're on side because of the subject, and they're interested because it's an optional subject as well. Yeah. And that is really important to me as a teacher. I want them to be interested in what I'm telling them. They might not love every lesson, but I want them to leave my lesson having had an experience and having learnt something. Yeah. And I do get that from them when I'm teaching. I feel as if they are engaging with the content that I'm delivering. And whether that's just the subject or whether that's the teacher, probably a combination of both. Yeah. But I think business is just a great subject to learn because of its real world context.
100%. I definitely would have studied business if it was available. Mm-hmm. It wasn't back then. Mm-hmm. You know, we had our normal subjects, maths, English, science. Yeah. And then we had to chuck history and a bit of Spanish in there. Yeah. So there's me walking around with my Spanish lingo, not very good, where I could have had business. But just talk to us about what that looks like in a classroom then, because obviously real life to then being in a classroom is different. But I guess now there's lots of real world examples that you can use. Yeah. So what would a typical lesson look like for a business studies?
For me, it's about connecting with examples of businesses and connecting with not just the big names, the big players in the subject. You know, we do Coca-Cola, we do the big MNCs, multinationals. But for me, I'm really passionate about learning about the local labour market. So I want to teach them about Siemens Gamesa down the road. I want to link my lesson to the local building supplier or the local hairdressing salon. And I think as a team of professionals, we've become very good at not only linking to the bigger companies, but also understanding what's going on locally so that they go, oh yeah, and I've driven past that fish and chip shop on my way to school, or I've definitely seen that business. And I think for kids, as soon as they know that that's a reality, you're believable. Yeah. So what you're telling them is believable, and I think that gets them on side. Yeah. So lots of real world examples, lots of links to the local labour market, lots of links to careers. I'm massively passionate about careers, and that's part of my role. I say I'm a teacher. I do about 10 hours a week teaching, and the rest is other stuff. But careers and making sure the kids are aware of why they're studying the subject and how that links to a future career is another way to kind of get them on board and interested in what it is that you're trying to teach them.
So I think you offered probably the most important part of someone leaving school. Now I've got to the age that I am, I look back, I realise kind of that there's so many students come away from school with qualifications and zero life experience, and they struggle a lot to actually get into jobs, to actually be in places. And those that have life experience of some sort seem to get ahead of those that have spent 5-6 years studying something to get a qualification. And I've looked at like some of the work you do, and you work really hard, don't you, to get local communities or local businesses to come in and speak to students, or them go see how it works. How is the uptake with businesses in giving experience to students? Is it quite challenging, or is there quite a lot of opportunity for them?
It's been brilliant for our school. Back in 2016, we set up a programme called the Employer-Led Programme, which aimed to link the curriculum with the industry or with the outside working world. It was so successful. We had businesses who were really keen to work with us to link the curriculum to careers for two reasons, really, because they believe it's really important. Yeah. They believe that young people should be leaving school with some experience and with the qualifications and technical skill to be able to succeed in the workplace. So they were really on board with that. But also from a recruitment perspective as well, a lot of these businesses were finding that the more they engaged with us, the more the kids would look at them for a future career. So we had real interest with the local business community. That has got more difficult post-COVID because people's working practices have changed. You know, more people working from home, businesses have closed, but we've still got a really healthy and strong relationship with our business community, and that's down to the reputation. Our kids are really well prepared for their next steps. We get feedback from employers all the time telling us that, and they actively recruit from our schools because of the programs that we've put in place, which is just brilliant for the kids, but also for us as well. So that program continues. We have an apprenticeship preparation program that really develops those who want to go into an apprenticeship before they even apply for an apprenticeship, and gives them the skills to be able to go on to that successfully, because it's a big demand, isn't it, going from school to the workplace. Yeah, huge. And they have to be absolutely ready. So we've done heaps of stuff like that where we've come up with really innovative programs to develop kids in terms of technical skill, and that's really what's won the multiple awards that you might have seen on online, and that reputation continues.
So what age do the kids go? What age are they to what's the highest age within the trust?
18 for our sixth form students. So there is sixth form, so there's a college then as well. Okay. Yeah. So that's where they're doing the work experience, etc. Yeah.
What age range do you teach?
So I teach, I say I'm qualified for 11 to 18, but I predominantly teach A-level now. So I teach the 16 to the 18-year-olds.
So that's at the point where they've left school then. So what's happening in the secondary school? Is business still quite relevant? So between the ages of 11 and 15?
Yeah. So all of our students who run our courses are in year 10. Okay. So they're year 10 and 11, so Key Stage 4. We used to teach year 7 enterprise many years ago, but not anymore. But we still have really healthy numbers. Yeah. It's a really popular subject. A lot of kids want to pick it because it's something new, and it's something that they can see that kind of real world link to. But also a number of their siblings or family members have done it before, and they've given the feedback that it's a good subject. So we're really lucky to have that interest, both at Key Stage 4 and year 10, and also in sixth form as well.
It is really interesting. I don't ever remember opportunities like this. Like, I'm 38 now, so I'm thinking, so I was 23 years ago, but it's changed so much.
Yeah.
I just remember leaving school with no qualifications, and I'm like, now what? No one to look after me, no one to tell me where to go.
No one told you what to do.
I'll be honest, I went straight to McDonald's and I got a job, which gave me ridiculous amounts of life experience, and I was able to progress quickly from there. But back then,
did you get free food?
All the time.
Did you? That's the question that the kids ask. If you worked in McDonald's, they're like, what you get?
All the time.
They're always interested in what food
I do career talks all the time. The scary thing about my career talk is, though, I'm there speaking to kids that are doing their exams, and I tell them, I didn't get one. I got one A star, and that was in drama.
Yeah. Oh, right, okay. And then you ended up in Macca's.
And then I ended up in McDonald's. And people are like, and then first question they ask is, do you get free food? I says, I do.
Yeah.
And, but I think it's so important, this subject, because I absolutely would have loved it. I've started to enjoy business after 30. So I was an employee for, most of my time, which has been brilliant. But during being an employee, I'm learning business skills, understanding business, understanding money. And then after 30, I started to kind of then venture into my own world. And at the moment, I'm still, finding my feet. It works. I was doing quite a bit of social media, and I still do it as well. And I was trying to capture a journey on there. I know we spoke about it, and we had this road to £1 million. And bizarrely, we're still doing that journey. We're just not documenting it because it was almost putting me in a space that wasn't relevant. I work with schools. Yeah. That was it. And it was just the wrong type of thing to be putting out there. But, and I think even now at 38 years old, I think it's really important to tell people is that you never qualify. You never qualify and become I'm now good at it. You learn every day.
Absolutely.
I'm approaching 40 and I'm still learning every day about business. But I love it. I read books on it. I read about how you can do this, how you can do that, understanding. And then I went on my own, set up my own business at 37. And that's a whole different ballgame now. So I'm having to relearn everything that I thought I knew. But I would have loved to do business back then if it was available.
It's great. And I think there when you mentioned about you didn't really know what you wanted to do, I think one thing that's definitely changed in schools is that teachers are also linking their subject to careers, even if they're not a business teacher. We've got such an amazing careers programme in our schools, and I know that that's happening nationally. The careers development that's gone on in terms of the programmes that have been delivered is phenomenal. So kids are actually learning what they can be doing every day from a number of different people. I don't know about you, but my careers appointment used to be in a stuffy room with one person. What do you want? What do you want to do?
What do you want to do?
There's a book there. Have a scan through. Look, I'll pick that. We didn't really have any sort of careers advice and guidance, whereas now it's become so important in schools. It's everybody's job, everybody's role, and kids are fully aware in most places what they might do with their qualifications once they leave. And I think it's crucial that young people have that information and have that experience.
With a world then of digital AI, it's moving faster than teachers. Are you constantly having to upskill yourself to be able to, because you're going to be in a scenario most likely where students are going to come in and like, I've just built a business using AI. And you're going to go, how? Can you teach me?
Yeah.
But businesses can literally be created within 25 minutes in today's world. Product online selling, money coming into a business account. It is crazy. It's not like it used to be. How do you prepare for that, and what have you got in place to support students that genuinely have these ambitions of setting this up?
I mean, in terms of my teaching style, I am literally still on Post-it notes. Yeah. So when you talk AI, I've had a dabble. I've had a dabble. I created a logo the other day in ChatGTP. I was so excited, that I've done that. Now I'm starting to learn more about it, and I think that I have to, and I think that's the starting point for me, is understanding it all myself. Because I am literally the Post-it note and poster teacher that gets them moving around the classroom. We've got felt tip pens out and pens and paper, and there's AI going on, and I'm kind of dabbling in it, but I'm not fully aware of what's going on. I think for me, it's about linking the kids up with businesses and industry that's already engaging with that, and having them support me in that process. Because it is, we're talking about jobs that have not even kind of been created yet.
Absolutely.
And trying to prepare young people for those jobs that are not even available yet. It's a big ask.
It is.
Of schools, and they are. It's on the radar. We've got an AI working group. I think I might join. For me to put myself in that working group is a big step, because that technically I'm not the most technically patient person in the world, but I am really eager to learn, and I feel as if it's really important for me to kind of learn what's next and prepare for that myself.
Because it is coming, isn't it? I watched a podcast the other day where this guy was running a full business with 9 AI bots all running it for him. So these were replacing people. He had an accountant, he had a solicitor, he had everything. It was all AI generated in his language, his brain, everything. And I know it's quite advanced. We're not going to sit here and say that happens, but it's been proven that this is happening.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to what's going on, that almost, teaching as it is today isn't going to look like it in 5, 10, 15 years' time. And, how then as teachers, I guess, do we look at that? Do we go, we're going to have to upskill ourselves to teach, or do we bring people in to teach them? Because it's, these students will be on it and coming in and going, I've just built that. And then,
they're on it when it's homework time.
Right.
So you can spot an AI piece of homework
when they're writing
a mile off. So that's something that we've kind of had to deal with quite quickly. Kids using AI to complete homework, which, we understand they're going to use the resources that are available to them. But sometimes, it's literally been an AI answer, and you can see that. So we've had to adapt our teaching style a little bit as well. In terms of setting homework, I'm not setting homework that they can do. They have to handwrite their homework.
Yeah.
Go back to pen and paper, which, is a way of tackling that. But definitely we're aware of that. And our staff are starting to use it in really creative ways as well, though. There's a lot of positive to it.
There is a lot of positive,
the time saving that some of our staff have experienced as a result of using it. Some of the things that they've created on the back of it is just wow moments where, you see the value of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's just getting that balance right between how much you do use it. I love being creative. I love writing my own emails. I don't use AI to write emails. I know loads of people in our schools do. Saves time. I just love writing my own, and I'm not quite there yet with the you'll save a load of time if you get AI to write your emails for you.
Yeah.
I want to put them together myself.
Yeah, well, that's what makes you valuable as well, because human skills are still massively. We don't want a world where everything's just robots and generic, and it is mad to look at what's coming. But I just thought it's an interesting, especially in business. Unfortunately, I think your sector is the most exposed, because businesses are genuinely being created overnight. With full AI programs running, and they're up and running, making lots and lots of money. And I'm just like, how do you incorporate this into business studies?
Yeah, sometimes I just kind of like avoid the subject.
Avoid it. Be ready,
let's not talk about that. Yeah, let's get the Post-its out, everyone. Come on, let's get the sugar paper out, and continue with that style of teaching. But I know that I have to engage with it, and I am prepared to do that. That's one thing about me. I know that that's not my biggest strength, but I will still give it a go,
Well, I'll drop the AI chat now. I'm putting it.
I never imagined for 1 minute that this podcast would get into AI and technical. There'd be people watching this now laughing, going, I cannot believe Barles is talking about AI and digital because she loves the traditional method of teaching. But yeah, here I am.
I love it. But obviously, over the last few weeks, interviewing different people from the Yorkshire Wolds.
Yeah.
So I've spoke really positively on this because the fact you like sport is brilliant because you'll like the analogy here. But you're almost creating a Man City where I know I'm a Newcastle fan, but I'm talking about saying you're building your own academy. This is what it feels like of teachers, but you're not also just building an academy you're building an academy of workers as well that can go into the local economy and help with businesses. And it's a really, really nice system that's been created. Teachers in, pupils out, but it's all like Hull and East Riding is going to be, you've got so much good going on, but I don't see this replicate. I don't see this. I've interviewed a lot of different schools that don't have this system. And then I'm trying to work out, is what you're doing quite, not novel, but are you doing a lot more work than what, say, other trusts may be doing? Like, I don't see this going on a lot, and it's really amazing to see.
There's a lot of great work going on in other trusts and nationally. There's lots of great careers work going on because I am fortunate enough to be able to network with so many amazing people. Whether the others shout about it as much as we do, I'm not sure because we're very visual. We like to tell people. Never used to be. I definitely never used to be that great at telling people what we were doing, but more so now. There's a lot going on. But I think what we've tried to do at Teal and at Yorkshire Wolds is look beyond the horizon, look for opportunity when it's not really in front of us, and try to kind of anticipate what might be needed in the future. Our kind of pre-teacher training programme at Yorkshire Wolds was unheard of when we first started that. Back in 2020, we wrote a virtual teacher training experience for people to kind of get involved with teacher training before they've even applied for it, to consider whether it was the right career path for them. And instead of keeping that to ourselves, what we did was shared that with anyone and everyone nationally to kind of say, look, we're trying to promote teaching. We're not just trying to promote Yorkshire Wolds. We want to promote teaching as a profession, so you can all have it. And that's something that we've been really good at, in not just in teacher training, but also the apprenticeship preparation programme, the employer-led programme. If anybody wants any of our resources, if anybody wants to have a chat about what it is that we do, it's open to everybody because every child matters, no matter whether they're a Teal child or student or from somewhere else. We just want to get people into teacher training. We want to get kids into apprenticeships. We want to support everybody, regardless of what school you're currently studying at or whether you want to go and train with Yorkshire Wolds or not. Yeah. And we're really proud of that.
But anyway, I just want to bring it back to business a little bit. Because that's why we're here. We love the business. Influencers, so people like Alex Hormozi and these Grant Cardone, these big business influencers. Are they? Do you know these people of their work? So sorry, I should say, they're big on business. These are the type of influencers that are almost saying, work hard, do this, go make 1 million calls. It's all about giving people that energy to go. I can do it. I can do it. But it's a really dangerous game with people. What do you think about business influencers who kind of put almost a false representation on what business really is? Do you look at any of them? Do you watch any of them?
I just think, again, with any influencer, there's always that worry that kids think that a certain pathway is really easy to follow, or there's no kind of barriers to doing what they're suggesting that they do, or that they're trying to influence them to do. In terms of influencers, I always say that as teachers, that's what we are every day. We are influencing. And kids are really kind of guided by influencers in everyday life, aren't they? I try to kind of steer away from making reference to influencers or talking about it in the classroom. I've tried to be the influencer. I set up a business about 4 years ago because I wanted to influence people within my business classroom about setting up their own businesses. So I try to look at my experience as a business owner and use that to inspire and motivate them and give them a real life perspective. Also getting in employers, local business people to talk to them and influence them from a real life perspective as well, because it worries me.
It is bad.
What are they watching and who are they watching and what kind of influence are they having on their...
Yeah, the message that can come across can be almost like you get trapped in your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Don't get sucked into that world.
Yeah.
You give your life there, you come home and you spend a few hours, and it's become a really negative thing to have a job. Like, that's how they make you feel. You know, you have to get up at 7 in the morning. But it's really toxic because what happens is those that are studying and those that are going on a career path of, say, whatever it might be, feel like, why am I putting all this effort in if I can just go do that? When I was at school, we didn't have influence. We didn't have the mobile phones.
No.
I'm talking like I'm really old. I'm not that old, but we didn't have them.
Your teacher was your influence.
The teacher was.
And your parents
Correct.
were.
Whereas now, you can just, motivational speech. There's motivational speech, on TikTok and all that. Yeah. And that must be really hard as a teacher to kind of go, it's your voice v these voices. But I just wanted your opinion on it, because it must be such a different world of teaching in today's world, of actually keeping everyone grounded. Yeah. Because I tell you now, if I was 15 having access to what's today, I'd be coming in the classroom going, well, I'm just going to set 15 online businesses up and I'm just going to make 59 million. And it's a problem. And even now, for me, you watch something that gives you that motivation to... It's not a bad thing to try everything, but sometimes it can just lead you down this path of self-destruct almost, and it's not good.
I think the links with real people, the bringing employers in to speak to the kids, I think my experience running a business and the real experiences that I've had from somebody that they truly know does keep them grounded and does... not only keep them grounded, but inspires them to achieve, but also understand the reality of it. We can talk about business failure, we can talk about the difficulties with business, but also the reward of it. Yeah. And when you are in front of them and you're a real person who they know and hopefully trust, or if it's an employer that's in front of them talking about their business, how they started, I think it's more believable. So we try to do that a lot because they are influenced by what's online, and they can often be sucked in by it. Yeah. I think schools do a really good job now of bringing in those real people who have been part of the local community for a long period of time or are really engaged with that local area. And I think that's really important to kind of give a more kind of grounded perspective on true life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever,
It's a fair point. And I didn't experience business until recently. As in, I've worked as an employee, but when you go on your own, it's a completely different world. Everything's so different. There's so much more to learn. It feels like I'm going back to school again. And it's like got to learn about tax, got to learn about VAT.
Oh, yeah.
You've got invoices that are coming in all over the place. You've got money here, left, right, and centre. And there's a stat, isn't there? It's a real harsh stat that 90% of businesses don't make it past 2 years or something like that. That's crazy.
We teach them that in year 10.
That's really sad. It's really that's a really bad start, and it shouldn't be like that. But what's the? I guess what we're trying to do is prepare them. Is prepare them for that. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think our course really does look at both the risks and rewards. We've got to inspire them to consider setting up their own business. I'm a massive believer in entrepreneurship. I am a really creative person. I'm very innovative. And a lot of people say to me, why did you get into teaching? Like, we can imagine you running a bigger business and taking that kind of skill to a kind of a bigger business and running a bigger business. But I love teaching. I think it's really important for us business staff to continue inspiring young people to set up business and to consider entrepreneurship, but also understand the risks of it as well. Yeah. We can inspire. We can be at the front of the classroom telling them, you might be the next Lord Sugar or Richard Branson owning your big island but it's tough. And as you say, the statistics on the number of businesses that fail and the difficulties and the fact that, when you ask a young person, what's your reason for setting up a business? To make a profit. Well, you're probably not going to make a profit for quite a long time. Most, are looking to survive initially, then break even. That's an achievement. So it's about, not shattering their dreams and not saying you'll never be able to do it. Or if you set up a business, it's likely to fail. It's about making sure they understand both sides of setting up a business can be really, really, really rewarding, but there's also risk involved. And I think our course is really good at looking at both sides of business. But our staff are so engaged with the subject that they do inspire them to do things. Some of our kids have gone on to do amazing things, whether that be a business degree course, a business apprenticeship. Some have set up some of the most amazing businesses on the back of, hopefully, the inspiration that we've given them over the years.
That's lovely. It's I remember interviewing Johnny, and he spoke about tracking data of those that are long gone from the school, and it's something that obviously we're not there with, but understanding how much impact you had to then see somebody and I would love to see some of my teachers today to say, not in any bragging right, but I was almost put into the pocket of this is where you sit. And how lovely to see a pupil or a student that wasn't really achieving at school, but's gone on to be running multiple businesses as an entrepreneur and absolutely, killing it in life. And it'd be lovely to track that eventually. I don't know how, I guess. Well,
I'm really lucky to have, with LinkedIn, I do get a lot of kids who connect. And then I get a message, usually when I'm on holiday in August, saying, "Hey up, miss, just thought I'd let you know that I'm now." And that's lovely. That's my way of tracking that. But I've always said, we're really caught up and hung up on what GCSEs did they get and what A levels did they get. Actually, what have they done since? I'm bothered about what they've done between leaving at 18 and where they are now, because that's really valuable information, and that shows us how we've prepared them for that next stage. Where are they at 25?
Yes.
What have they done? What have they achieved? Because I look at some of the things that our students have gone on to do, and at the age of 25 are very, very successful, but our data's all on the kind of
data, isn't
GCSE and A-level results and exam. What have they gone on to achieve?
Yeah, so which means the system is just a little bit broken. It's close because we still need standards, but it's definitely got stuck. And I don't think anyone's been able to kind of evolve it. No. Because you are right. Wouldn't it be great to look at even the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds to see what they're doing? Yeah. But once they're 16 and they've gone, that's it. We stop tracking and we go back to this again.
Makes you feel really old, though, when the 30-year-olds start coming back and saying, you taught me. Or then when the kids rock up and you taught me, mum. Usually at parents' evening when they sit down and they say, you taught me. And then you think,
yeah, well, crikey, you will
I've been in the game a long time.
Yeah, you will have parents coming back in with...
Yeah. It's a scary thought when you start to see that, especially because I've been at the same school for such a long time.
Yeah, you are part of that community, aren't you?
But they're still calling you miss, and they're like 30 odd.
I don't know what if I saw my teacher again, what I'd say. Miss. I think I'd have to.
You'd still say miss, They found that really difficult to get past calling you miss. But it's when you're in the pub and they're shouting miss across the pub, then you just want to run off in the other direction. But they love to say hello in the pub, and they love to say hi miss. How's it going? I've not been your teacher for 20 years,
Yeah.
Do
you know what I'd love? I would love to come into one of the lessons and come sit in and see what they do and see how it works.
You'd love that.
100%. I do a lot of STEM talks anyway. So I go into schools and I speak about careers. I talk about my career. Like I say, everyone asks me, because everyone's asking me about the grades, and I say, oh, this is so embarrassing. I didn't get any. And I went to work at McDonald's. But what I love about my story is it's the grounded real life story, and it gives everyone like this, that's okay then. Because I'm maybe not up there where everyone expects me to be. This guy has got nothing, went to McDonald's, and I've got an amazing career in construction. I work with schools every day. We run an amazing podcast. All these positive things come from the back of not failing at school, just not being in the bracket that you're supposed to be. So I talk a lot at schools about that story, and it's nice. But yeah, I think I'd love to come in and sit in a class and see how it's taught and try and understand it.
I've got a nice spot in my classroom. You could sit whiteboard, pen.
I'll come in
you
then.
can get involved in
I'll come tell them about, tell them about my career in McDonald's.
They'd love that. They love that. But you will get asked the question, did you get free food? And what is it? Because food seems to be the focus of every kid's.
Yeah, it's always how much do I get paid?
Yeah.
And did I always eat the food? Yeah.
I sometimes start my lessons, and I shouldn't do. And again, I'm on camera here, but I sometimes start my lessons with, what takeaway are you having tonight? On a Friday, my year 12s come in, and we can't start the lesson until we've said, what you having for your tea tonight? Because you can bet your bottom dollar most of them are having a Chinese. Or then it gets into, what food are you having? What are you having from the Chinese? You're having Chinese, what are you having? And then it gets into a debate about, well, my food's better than your food. So by the time we get started, the lesson's over. But we've got that bond, that connection as teacher and student, and hopefully they enjoy my lessons as a result of that.
Just finally, this has flown, this podcast.
I know.
I can't believe how quick
honestly,
it's gone. You won't believe
yeah.
It's honestly, it's been so amazing. We could talk forever about business though. What advice would you give to people looking to get into teaching? And because there's no excuse now, not with the Yorkshire Wolds route, anyone can do it. But if you had to give it, if someone's thinking about getting into teaching, what would it be?
I think the biggest worry that I had going into teaching was that I didn't know enough.
Yeah.
And when you speak to those who are looking to get into teaching, it's do I know my subject enough to be able to teach it to somebody else? It's the biggest worry that trainees have.
I think that was exactly what I think.
And at the time, I thought that you had to know everything. I thought you couldn't be a teacher unless you knew absolutely everything about your subject. Otherwise, how could you teach it? Yeah. But actually, you don't need to. I've learnt so much whilst being a teacher. I've learnt about business, I've learnt about the content, I've learnt about the way that I deliver a lesson and what works best and what doesn't as I've gone along. And every single teacher will tell you the same, that the biggest fear that you had was, will I be able to teach this subject well enough to be a great teacher? And actually, you can start off your career not knowing absolutely everything, and you don't need to.
It's being about being a mentor.
Yeah, it's the inspiration. Yeah. It's being the influencer.
Yeah.
That's more important than the content. The content you can learn. It is a scary thought to think you've got to stand in front of, let's say, the year group I teach, the 18-year-olds, and tell them about business from an A-level perspective. But you don't need to know everything. You don't need to.
I love that.
It's so important to know that if you're going into teaching, that if you're kind of new to it all, if you haven't, let's say you're a career changer coming from industry into teaching, you haven't studied business for a long time, you learn as you go on along. Yeah. And actually, it's still okay for a kid to ask you a question and for you to say, I don't actually know. That was my biggest fear, that I would say I didn't know the answer to a question. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to quickly Google it while no one's looking. Like, what will I do with myself? But actually, you can say, I'll get back to you on that, because I don't know, and we're not perfect. We don't know everything. Yeah. But it's having that confidence to be able to say that to them,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that was the biggest fear that I had. And actually, it's okay not to know absolutely everything.
I love it. Sarah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
I will see you at South Hunslet.
Yeah, I'll get the seat ready for you. I'll get you a whiteboard and a whiteboard pen, and we'll have you at the front, and you can take part in the Q&A. Oh no, we call it retrieval now. It's not Q&A, it's retrieval practice. You can be involved in that if you'd like to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheers.